In a typical construction project involving a concrete frame, you would expect that there will be several types of props. So the first type is a column prop, second is a slab prop, and third is a beam prop. These are elements that we use in order to support our formwork structure, especially when it comes to pouring concrete. Now, all of these elements or objects you can create in Revit through families, and for demonstration purposes I'll go through beam prop. So I'll show you how to create beam props as a family, but the same concepts can be followed in order to create your slab or your column props. So let's go back to our Revit. So suppose that we have this project. This is the beam, this are the columns we want to create. Of course you have to create your formwork for the beams, for the columns, just like I showed you in a previous video. And then we want to also create the props. So to do that, you go to File and click on New. We want to create a family, and this time we're just going to stick with the generic one, so metric generic. So just a metric generic model. Click on Open. And this should open a new family file for you. Now, from the reference level, we need to create our extrusion. So let's create this rectangle. Now this is going to act as our base. So this is the base for the prop. Let's decrease that thickness to maybe 10. Well, 10 is a bit 30. Okay. Now again, you can dimension that by, if you double click, I can dimension both of my horizontal and vertical edges, so I'm happy with it the way it is. So, and you can also change the location with respect to these already pinned references. Let's leave it as it is. So this is the first step. The second step is we want to create the actual stem, and to do that, go to your front elevation, and on your keyboard just press on Z and E. So ZE, actually sorry, ZA. So again, I repeat, ZA is what you gotta press. So if I press on ZA, it's gonna zoom in to my drawing. So this is what we have. Again, we can sort of shift it using my arrow keys, but I want to create my stem. Before I do that, I have to create a reference so that this acts as the height of the stem. And to do that, you go to create reference plane, and let's just draw it over here. So I want to dimension that. I can do that by clicking on this symbol. So if I do that, you'll see a dimension that appears, and I want to associate, of course, a shade parameter. We'll do that once we create our stem. So to create the stem, there's multiple ways of doing that. You can either create it directly from the elevation. So you go to Extrusion, and then you create a stem like that. The other way, but this is going to give you a rectangular sort of stem. If you want a circular one, what you got to do is you got to go back to your reference level floor plan, and then go to create and extrusion. And if I wanted the circular stem, I'll just click on circle and say I wanted this to start at the center. So this is where I place it, but before I place it, I want to set my reference. So I'll pick a plane, and let's pick the base that we created. So pick that, click once on it, and then now let's create that circle. So maybe 80 mil in radius. So click on that and then press on the tick. Now if we go and have a look at it, this is what it looks like in 3D. Of course we can increase the height, so by playing around with the extrusion. If I go to my elevation, this is the height, so I can drag it up until it reaches my reference plane, and then I can lock it to it. And the reason I would lock it to it is because now I can shift my reference plane and automatically it will shift my stem as well. So maybe the stem is a bit too big over here, so again we can change that by going back to our reference level and double clicking on that. If you click once and change that to 40 maybe, so hit the tick and let's have a look at it in front view. So now it looks a bit more reasonable. Now the second step is creating the plate. So I want a plate that sits at the top of here, and this is easy to do. I can go to create, extrusion, again select the rectangle, and I can create a plate, and I will lock it to my reference plane. I can double check if I change that. Now the thing is, given that I locked it to my reference plane, you notice how the thickness of it would change. So I can unlock it, and instead I can remove the constraint, and I can say lock that to the actual stem, so not the reference plane but the stem itself. Or the other option is I can fix the dimension, so I can fix the dimension of the plate. So in this case it's 250. Let's just make it well, this is not going to change actually my my thickness. Is because if we go back to our 3D view, so if I click on that, it's going to extend it in this direction. As you see, I can position it so that it's in the middle by using my arrow keys. Yeah, and then using that extrusion to sort of narrow it down to say right here. It looks slightly better now. The thing is that we want to attach the top to the bottom. But yeah, you can shift it a bit. Okay, so let's attach the stem to the bottom of the plate. I'll show you how to do that in the next video.